the first thing I want to show you about this build is this instance where not once, but twice, I narrowly escaped death.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
I will not go after me, John. I shouldn't be alive. So this build I'm about to show you is heresy to the meta church of Evie, but first, let me show you a few more instances where I completely escaped death thanks to this build, where a standard 1800 health Evie would not have survived. God damn, that was sick though. I fucked up. Nope. Let's see if I get killed. I don't think so. Oh my god, literally 1 HP. Holy shit. Dear god. Io. Dear lord, okay. Man, it's too fast. I should not be alive.
Hold, brothers.
Thank you, Io.
15 seconds. 10, 9, 8.
Hey friend, it's Velo, and today I'm going to show you my favorite way to play Evie. Alright, so here's the build itself. The most important part here is keep moving 5 because we want to get Evie's health as high as possible. The next one is Cold Acclimation 1, which is just a filler card, it's really not that important. The next is Swift Witch 4, so that I can increase the distance covered by Soar and also makes me faster and harder to hit. It's basic math. Distance equals time times speed. You can increase either time or speed to get more distance, or both if you want maximum distance, but I prefer speed here as for the reasons mentioned earlier. The next two, Killing Frost and Impact, are to give me back the cooldown of my Soar after getting a kill. You don't need to have these add up to 100%, because you're not going to refund all 10 seconds of your Soar. You're going to be spending like 2 or 3 seconds actually doing damage with it, so you don't need that 100%. So here the 70% is actually really effective.
2, 1.
I think Over the Moon is such an overlooked, silent but deadly way to play. Wormhole is great, but Over the Moon just feels so great to play. It's an especially good option for suboptimal ping, as with Wormhole, you inherently will blink up to twice as much, giving ping and the Wormhole bug twice as much opportunity to screw you over. And most good players will expect Wormhole and play around it. They'll camp your blink back, they'll play defensively until you inevitably blink back. All valid counterplay that I could deal with. But the bugs, the blinks that don't teleport your hitboxes, the blinks that don't even teleport you, no sir, it's big damage time. Corvin Yank?
Oh,
yeah.
but Haven counters it.
I like Yank. Haven counters literally everything. I don't like Corvus
I'm
still going to be hitting them for about 800 to 900 damage a shot, as opposed to 600 to 700 without Over the Moon. I don't know, I think it's just because Wormhole is great, but I like this. Deleting squishies in 2 shots is just so... chef's kiss. You can get off like 3 1000 damage shots, even if it's not on squishies, you can just take out half a tank's health. And being able to reset your Soar and do it all again? Amazing. Over the Moon completely throws off their perception of what you're gonna do in game. Even I still find myself waiting for a Wormhole blink that'll never happen on an enemy Evie running solo, because 90% of Evies run Wormhole. You can see your enemies panic after they realize that their estimate of your TTK was dead wrong, and thanks to Over the Moon, their TTK is now lower. Personally, I find myself not committing to targets like I should when running Wormhole, because I always feel the need to blink back and get the blink kill off, or just using it to poke and not cleaning up kills or engaging. Generally with this build, you obviously use Sword to engage and save your blink to get out, or get to high ground and secure the kill and reset your sword. Use Ice Block to cleanse CC or get a quick heal if your support is nearby, or use it to stall a point for your team if you need to. And if you can't get kills, you still employ standard Evie operating procedure and do your best to distract them away from the objective or stay in your backline for a while, waiting for an opportunity to capitalize on and go in. I will take lots of pot shots, even from range, and about half of them hit, which I think is pretty good.
Now you're rolling.
That was just an over the moon.
For Evie shots. Even if they don't, you're still effectively zoning that sightline. The only scenario you're definitively harming your team is when you're diving into too many people and die immediately. Of course, I'm still guilty of this, getting greedy for those fat smacks, but it's important to be conscious of when you make mistakes so you can correct. The original goal of this build was to make a sort of meme build where I build Evie like a standard DPS with standard DPS health and over the moon just for like bigger damage. But it turns out this is just a really solid over the moon build in general, and I'm finding myself really liking it. And it's pretty much my main build now. The extra 442 health is absolutely amazing, whereas in a Wormhole build, I can't really afford to invest the points into extra health because I need to invest it into my blink distance and the blink heal. I used to run an over the moon build which still had the heal into the blink, but this is just so much better than that because the blink heal can still get cauterized, while this can get you up to the maximum 442 health, and you can't cauterize flat health. And on top of this, you can also run Haven to give yourself even more effective HP. As I said before, the damage buff from Over the Moon makes you do about 1,000 damage per shot after getting out of Soar for 3 seconds, and this damage can be increased to about 1,200 when you're buffed by Furia's ultimate. This takes you from 2-shotting squishies to 2-shotting potentially most DPS and supports in the game. Now, if you don't want to use this build because you don't want to give up the maneuverability of Wormhole, fair enough, but I say I don't think you have to worry about that. If you play it right, this build will allow you to get your Soar back very quickly. As you saw here, my Soar cooldown was reduced to 3 seconds after getting a kill, and if you get subsequent kills after that, it is completely refunded to you. And if you're struggling to land these kill shots, you can still always buy Cronus. Once you get the hang of this build, you'll be using Soar to engage in, get the kills, get your Soar reset, and then rinse and repeat. I also cannot stress enough how much more important it is, to me at least, to be running the Soar speed card as opposed to the Soar duration, because there will be a lot of times where I use Soar only for about a couple seconds to get a quick reposition or get the damage bonus off of Over the Moon, and not really using it for duration at all. So if you do use the one that gives you extra time on your Soar, you may be finding yourself soaring for longer than necessary just so you can get the most utility out of it, which is kind of putting the cart before the horse. Like, you will almost always have your Soar available to you when you're using this build. So I would even argue that this build has just as much mobility as Wormhole, potentially even more if you can land your shots and get those kills to reset your Soar. Now, because of her high mobility, Evie's walking speed is actually pretty slow, so I'd also suggest running Nimble when you can with this build and just on Evie in general, because when you do find yourself stuck without your cooldowns, your Nimble will help you maneuver just a little bit better and strafe better, and overall increase your survivability. How fast you walk also messes with an enemy's perception of how much they may have to lead their shots if they are a projectile champion. Now, don't get discouraged if you don't immediately find your groove with this build. There's definitely a rhythm here that might take a couple rounds for you to get into. Like with this game, it took me a couple rounds for me to get into my groove and pop off. So I cannot stress enough, do not get discouraged. Practice, you will find the rhythm. You can also fly over some pretty surprising heights and places using Evie's Soar and really get the jump on the enemy team. Most of the time they won't even see you coming, so you can land about 1 to 2 free shots on them. And by the time they actually look at you, they're just 1 shot away from death. It'll be way easier for you to secure the kill. Now, in my experience, this build also gives you an easier time dealing with snipers. Since you'll be able to take out half their health in 1 hit, generally this will make them retreat and give your team some time to work without having the threat of the sniper looming over them. And the extra health makes it so that Kinessa can't 1-shot headshot you, and with a veteran in Haven, they can't 2-shot you either. And overall, they're just not going to expecting you to be running over the moon. They just expect Wormhole Evies. And this is really what I mean when I say that this playstyle is silent but deadly. Wormhole gives those audio cues of you blinking back the fact that you even have Wormhole, but there are no Qs with your increased health and your increased damage. The only tangible Q here is your soar, and the only thing they're going to hear is that you're soaring often. Of course, they can check the scoreboard to see what talent you're running, but still, overall, they're not going to be used to it. They're not going to be used to not being able to delete you so quickly, and they're not going to be used to they themselves getting deleted so quickly. When facing Wormhole EVs, good Cereses will generally pre-fire at your blink location to get some extra shots on you when you blink back. With Over the Moon, this problem is completely eliminated. And on top of that, the extra damage gives them way less time to react, and you'll have an easier time bursting them down before they get a chance or think to go into their shadow travel. If you are a Wormhole Evie player, I hope this inspires you to branch out and potentially try this build. And if you don't already play Evie, I hope this encourages you to pick her up, try her out, and try this build if you're worried about ping screwing you over with your blinks. The extra health on this build will definitely help you to learn the ropes of Evie and how she plays, her maneuverability, and her weapon if you're just starting out with her. Unfortunately, since Evie doesn't exactly have high pick rates with people in this player base, she's kind of neglected right now by the developers, and I'm really hoping to change that. I absolutely love her high skill ceiling, and she's so rewarding to play, even if it comes with a high skill floor. I absolutely encourage you to try this wonderful champion. Maybe if enough people play her, some of her bugs can be fixed, and hopefully she gets a new skin if enough people play her, because her last skin was just a recolor of her Sweet Shop, and Sweet Shop came out, I believe, more than 2 years ago, so it's been a sad couple of years for us Evie mains with no new skins. But the most tragic part of Evie's skin drought is that she still does not have a golden skin, even though she's one of the oldest champions in the game. But with Lilith's release, I hope they do her hair the same way they do Lilith's, with that really pretty white with those purple embellishments on it. And also, considering Starglam already gives her a yellow coat, I hope they give her a black coat with her golden skin, and maybe give her gold embellishments on the coat itself, maybe a gold dress underneath, whatever she's wearing underneath. Either way, hope we get that soon. It's not coming next patch. Maybe next one, though. Or maybe the one after that. Who knows? Hopefully it's sometime this century. Anyway, that's about it for now. If you want to see full game content from me, please let me know. I'm really not sure what you exactly will want. I'm not sure if people want more highlight compilation videos, or if they want full gameplay from my Evie or any other champions I play for that matter. Overall, I want to give you what you want to see. I also stream on Twitch at twitchtv.velocici, usually around 3 times per week, usually in the evenings around 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So go over there, give me a follow, and you'll get notified when I'm live. And you can see firsthand how exactly these games play out. I really hope to see you there, and thank you for being here, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye, friend.